Now, what are the key ingredients to a good pitch? What do we think that people need from a pitch? What do they need to learn? Pardon?
Relevant information.
Relevant information. That's a very general way of saying that. Concise? Yeah? Keeping it down to a minimum, not blabbering on in your pitch too much. Any other ideas? Supply and demand? Yes.
Create that in your pitch.
Yes, you would want to create the air of demand within your pitch, saying like, this has been booked here, this has been booked there, this gets booked all the time.
I guess I was going to say that keeping it entertaining.
Yeah, keeping it entertaining. Pardon?
What if there's a unique selling point?
Yes, if you've got a USP, definitely include that in your pitch. As your entertainers, sort of showcase that a little bit in your pitch. I mean, remember though what Dave was saying about the type of people that you're coming to. Too entertaining, too odd, and you're going to scare the hell out of them. So entertaining, comedic, light-hearted, whatever it is that your brand or your act is trying to offer, showcase that in your pitch. If you've got a super clean corporate aerial act, be clean, be corporate. If you've got a comedy juggler, have that bit of comedic timing. Maybe juggle the presentation folders. I don't know. So, what to ask prior to a pitch? So this is the key information that you need before doing your pitch. If you don't have this information, your pitch will suffer. So one of the big things is budget. You need to try and figure out your client's budget as soon as possible. This is not only down to how much effort you want to put into the client. If the client comes to you with a £100 budget, you're not going to put anywhere near as much effort as if they come to you with a 10 grand budget. Location, of course you need to know where you're going, you need to know your travel distance, you need to know if you're flying, etc. Duration. So you want to know in your pitch exactly how much time they need from you and exactly what you're going to be doing in that time. So is it going to be walkabout? Is it going to be a stage act? Set numbers, how many sets are they after? You know, you can gauge that in a pitch. A lot of the time you can guide them to the number of sets you want to do in the pitch though. So you can push them along in the direction you want them to go. Travel days. In your pitch, be super aware if it's an international event, if you need travel days. Also charge accordingly for your travel days. Your time is not free. Go on.
How much would that be?
Travel days generally are between £100 and £200. Generalisation from the artist I've worked with. If you're charging over £200 for a travel day, you might just look like a bit of a dick. Like, yeah, I do understand charging a lot, but most 100 to 200. Transportation. Do you need fly? Do you need buses? Is there a weird, obscure way? Do you have to get a ferry to this place? Do you have to, I don't know, get a speedboat to some weird island? But understanding little key details like that can help your pitch, because that's going to all go into your budget, and that's going to help you figure out the overall price. And your overall price has to be included in the pitch. Visas, really important thing, especially with Brexit coming up. Chances are we're going to need a lot more visas than we ever did before. I'm not getting into Brexit. I'm not. We're all entertainers, so I'm sure we all have very strong opinions on it. But chances are, come 31st of October, we're all going to need a lot more visas to get to a lot of European jobs. And visas, they can take time, they can cost a lot of money in some places. You need to figure out who's going to do the visa as well, because sometimes the end client will do it, sometimes the end client will expect you to do it, sometimes you may need a sponsorship, sometimes you may even need an exit visa in order to leave the country. You all didn't look as worried as I thought you would be for being trapped in a country.
We're just used to it.
So, thoughts prior to pitch. Can you actually do the pitch? Is one of the main things. Can you actually do the job? Is it going to be worthwhile for you doing the job? Can you fit the rehearsal in? You may be available on the day, but if your calendar's chock-a-block up to then, are you actually going to be able to fit a rehearsal in with who you need to rehearse with? Do I have an appropriate costume? Is this a bespoke costume build? Do you have to build something very specific for the client? Similar to what Tor was saying about builds yesterday, if you're building something so specific, make sure you're charging for it. If it's something you think that you can use again, then maybe you don't have to charge so much for it. Do you have the appropriate media? Now, this can come down to, is your promotional video actually any good for what they're asking for? Or is it better for you to actually film a new promotional video solely for this pitch? If it's a really big pitch, it might be worth your while paying the 400-500 quid for a videographer to get a new promo filmed to get that 10 grand year long pitch.
If you don't get it, then you're basically losing on that, right?
Pardon?
If you don't get it, then you're making a loss for sure. But
Yeah.
you could use it for something else.
Well, a new promo video is a new promo video.
Yeah, you
Sure.
don't
Like-
need to start.
Yeah,
Hey, company, I really hope you like it.
Yeah, you don't have to be super specific that it's for their company, but say it's a Fire and Ice themed event and you don't have a Fire and Ice promo video and it's a 4-month contract,
Yeah.
I would go and get a Fire and Ice themed video filmed
Yeah.
for that. It's well worth it because you look super specific. It's about targeted marketing and you look super specific for them. You look exactly like what they want then. Am I available? Can you agent it out? A general progression for most performers is when they get too much work, they slowly become an agent. That's how things work, unfortunately. That's how most agents come about, is they just have too much work and they keep having to gig odd jobs to their friends, and then eventually they realize, I can earn money giving these odd jobs to friends. So, can you agent it out? Do you have a replacement available for your skills? So if you know someone with a very similar skill set with you, then get to know each other and work together. You can pass each other these jobs then, where you're both available, or I'm not available, can you cover this? And it'll work for both of you. Finding an understudy can be really hard though, because you need to think about, not only have they got the same skill set, but have they also got the same work ethic as you? That can be the harder thing to find. Do you want to do it? Do you even want the job? Just because someone offers you a big job, say a 3 grand for 2 weeks, do you actually want it? Is it going to be way too much work? You're all looking at me like, why would I turn that down?